There's a certain level of cruelty that only a group of children can muster. When one is made to wear a retainer brace at age 8, it was surely an unpleasant sight, the metal headgear wrapped around her face. There were lots of stories about the night of her 9th birthday sleepover. Kids say she willed her metal brace into massive jaws, incising her way through the house. But it was no fault of her own. Mandible Judy isn't a nice name for a quiet little girl.
Car 743, please report. 743, what is your status? Patrolman Mazzanti, do you copy?
Yeah. Yes, I copy. This is car 743.
What is your location?
I'm still on the interstate. Not sure what exit. He ran me off the road somehow. I must have hit my head.
Copy that.
What the hell was that?
State police are in pursuit. Do you need assistance?
No, I'm okay. I'm probably still closest to him. He was headed north. I'm on it.
Negative, Patrolman. Do not pursue. Out of our jurisdiction.
Copy. Car 743 out. Like hell I'm not gonna pursue. Little punk smashed my windshield.
Frank, I'm sorry to bother you. I tried calling you back. Yesterday, I saw Kenny drive your truck in East Haddam. I was concerned. He ran into a parked car and...
He took off in my truck yesterday. I couldn't stop him. I don't know where he was going.
But he doesn't drive.
No, he doesn't. He was in a state. I have no idea where he is and no way to find him. Called the police, but...
They'll find him, Frank.
Why are you bandaged up? What happened?
I was back at the rocks trying to figure this all out. Casey Handleman was with me. A very disturbed individual attacked us. He hit me with a piece of rock and ran off with it. Frank, I will help any way I can. I'll contact the police and see...
Don't! I think you need to stay out of this. I shouldn't have called you.
Listen, you don't have a car now. I'll drive you to...
No! I regret ever letting Kenny go down those damn rocks with you. You had no right messing with his stuff. You don't understand any more about it than the day you started. If I were you, I'd stop endangering other people and leave those rocks be.
Frank, please, let me help. Damn it.
Hi, we called earlier about looking...
About renting a cabin. Do you have any vacancies?
This time of year? Yeah. How long will you be staying?
We, don't know yet. 2 nights, maybe?
All right. There's the one you passed on the way in, or this one closer to the trailhead.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, by the trail.
Okay. We mostly do cash unless you're staying for a week or more. $32 a night.
Let me get this.
You plan on doing some hiking? It's too late in the season for fishing.
Right. Yeah, I told her fishing would be a waste of time.
Yeah.
You'll have some nice colors on the main trail still. Beautiful time of year. Here's the key. Let me know if you need anything.
Okay, thanks. Cute. But yeah, I get it.
If she's keeping Catherine's presence a secret, we're not going to get it out of her by asking.
Marco, look at that!
79 Olds? What about it?
The bumper sticker.
Muskegon Food Co-op. Could that be...
I can't believe it. Hi. This is gonna sound strange, but do the words Dental Services of East Haddam mean anything to you?
Who are you?
My name is Bonnie. I was receptionist after you left. We know about Dr. Fusi's experiments and we need your help. Judy needs your help. Please. This is Marco. We drove all the way up here to talk to you. Catherine?
We've been overdue for this meeting, Darcy. I've kept you somewhat in the dark about our goals in sending you to study the rocks at Muskegon Marsh. I have little interest in geology, but it came to our attention last year that something was affecting the wildlife. Some of the things living around the marsh are no longer the way God made them, Darcy.
Like the frogs we saw last week.
Exactly. I sent out teams to check the plant life and the water, which turned up nothing useful. But the locals had some peculiar stories they'd heard. Stories about those rocks. A team of the best biologists money can buy, and none of them could find a link between the minerals and the frogs. But your work has opened up the possibility of it coming from sound.
Is that even possible?
Studies have shown that pregnant women exposed to loud ambient noise, those living near an airport, for instance, have babies with abnormalities. The development is directly affected by consistently high levels of sound. I was contacted a few days ago by a dental surgeon from the area with some interesting thoughts about unexplained mutation in the local environs. He specifically mentioned a young man who had been assisting our survey.
That would be Kenny Howard. His father told me that he had taken him to see someone in town.
Yes, Dr. Anton Fusi. He's an odd duck to be sure. But the information on young Mr. Howard may be helpful in understanding what exactly is going on, and that could lead to medical applications.
And that's where Becker Pharmaceutical comes in. Well, I'm afraid we're too late regarding Kenny, sir. He took off in his father's truck yesterday and hasn't been seen since. The poor kid. His reaction to the incident at the rocks has been very dramatic. He's become severely agitated and unpredictable.
The boy's problems are his father's concern, but we need to locate him. Fusi claimed an earlier patient of his had similar symptoms, but at a more advanced stage. She's been locked up at Westmore after a very violent outburst.
Do you mean the Kaderbeck girl?
That's right. She's suspected of murdering several other children in her home.
Yes. I saw the police cars in commotion that night. It was right around the corner from the Howards, in fact.
Interesting. I sent one of our geneticists up to Westmore to examine her, Dr. Nobili. You've heard of her?
Giustina Nobili? Her book on music and genetics has made quite a splash. I saw her partner, Dr. Scafano, on television last week.
These two women are pioneers in the field of genetics, which is why they're working for BP. The kind of mutation we see in Judy Kaderbeck is exceedingly rare, Darcy. Maybe entirely unique. The dentist fancies himself a biologist. He seemed to think something was triggering a new phenotype, but he was unsure of the cause until he heard about your work at the marsh. Contact him and see if there's anything to his theories. Arrange a meeting and see if you can get a copy of the Howard boys' file.
I can do that, sir. I'd feel better if we had someone more qualified study the samples before anyone goes back to the marsh. It's not safe, in my opinion.
Dr. Nobili, this is Connor Darcy, the geologist I told you about.
Hello, Mr. Darcy.
It's a great honor, Doctor. I know a little about your work in genetics, and I've seen your partner on TV.
Yes, Dr. Scafano is still out selling the book. I prefer lab work myself. Your rock samples and notes are really very interesting.
Based on your observations at the marsh, we've obtained some subjects for Dr. Nobili's tests. If there is a god, he must be rather disagreeable to create such disgusting creatures.
We did see frogs at the marsh that were showing some very strange traits.
Coloration changes, abnormal growth.
And a disinclination to hibernate. It was very unusual.
We've isolated a number of them in a soundproof room with the rocks you supplied. The meters over here measure sound levels. The chart shows that there have been 3 short periods of sonic activity coming from the rocks in the last 2 days. We retrieved one of the frogs for observation. Here.
That looks like the frogs I saw at the marsh.
I thought so. You'll notice the blue coloration. However, most interesting is what we found in their blood. You might be familiar with the study of stem cells?
Undifferentiated cells that take on specific roles, like cellular repair?
That's right. Stem cells from the blood of this frog were completely new to the species. They appear to have been created by the normal stem cells after exposure to the sonic phenomenon. These are highly pluripotent cells, very versatile and extremely fast-growing, and possibly the cause of some very unusual behavior.
What kind of behavior?
As you know, Dr. Nobili and Dr. Scafano have pioneered the use of sound synthesis in the field of genetics.
The sounds on this tape are from a custom-made synthesizer designed by Dr. Scafano. She has developed a set of frequencies and timbres that have proven to have predictable effects on varying species in our tests. I usually start with a simple attention setting. As you can see, the frogs in the room have all turned their attention to the left, the direction of the sound.
Interesting.
But notice the behavior of the frogs behind the glass in the isolation chamber.
They are also turning to the left, but they can't hear the sound in there, can they?
They can't hear a damn thing in there.
If they could hear the synthesizer, we would expect them to turn to the right, since that is where the sound is coming from in relation to their position.
What they're doing is mimicking the behavior of the other frogs, who can hear the sound coming from their left.
That's remarkable. How could they know? I mean, they'd have to be telepathic.
Bingo.
Telepathic frogs.
Darcy, I think you can see the importance of this work. We've got to treat it with total discretion. But I need to know what Fusi was doing with his patients.
Yeah, I saw Judy Kaderbeck. Her mutation goes far beyond anything I've seen before.
You think it was the sound of the rocks that did it? Or Fusi?
That is what I need you to find out, Mr. Darcy.
Thanks for tuning in to Season 2, Episode 3 of Mandible Judy. Our cast this week was Mike Hall, Tyler Jackson Price,
Ty Anderson,
Erin Lillis, David Steele, Bonnie Bogovich, and Graham Rowat. Follow Mandible Judy on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We post news and sound design and music composition videos periodically. And please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen. We rely on support from our listeners, so please help us keep the series going at patreon.com/mandiblejudy. And remember, stay the home and listen to podcasts.